Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Hidden Dagger Inn. Tonight we have, of course, our Twitch sensation, Paranoid, as the co-host. And joining us tonight, we have a very special guest. We have Psycho-Phobic from the Guildmaster of Suspect, the Ashes of Creation Mercenary Guild. Thank you for the follow, Carlitos Way Thorax. Thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it. How the hell is everyone? Thank you for the follow, Silverbell TTTV. I love it. Thanks, guys. Hope everyone's having a great Saturday night. So let's go ahead and get shit started. And first, Perry, how are you? And then we'll move on to Psycho and ask him how you're doing. Perry, how are you?
Doing well. Just got back from a friend that just got married. It was an Indian wedding, so first Indian wedding, and did all that. Very colorful, lots of dancing. Very tired at the moment, so still recovering from that. But overall, very good.
Awesome. And before I get on to a Psycho, I just want to show everybody my new Hidden Dagger merch shirt. Go ahead if you want to support the channel. There you go. See, right there. All right. By the way, they run a little bit big, so it's a champion. Anyway, Suspect and Mr. Psycho-Phobic himself. How the hell are you, man? Thanks for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it.
I can't complain. The wife doesn't listen anyway. I'm kidding, honey. Okay.
You're gonna pay for that.
No, Oh,
Yep.
well, she's angry now. I got her.
Negative brownie points. You're done.
Oh man, you're gonna be kicked out of the bed. You're gonna be using the poop sock tonight.
Oh yeah. Well, no, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here for sure.
Well, let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with the first question that everyone's probably dying to know. What inspired you to create Suspect and adopt the mercenary playstyle?
Sorry, my kids running behind me.
Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine.
They're on cue. They waited an hour.
Yeah, I totally got derailed. Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Sure. What inspired you to create Suspect and adopt that mercenary playstyle for the guild?
It was really born in New World. We were in a different guild in New World when it first started at the very beginning, and we kind of just didn't have any expectations and just ran with it, and we eventually got really good at PvP sieges, and people started paying us to fill slots in their sieges, and we kind of just ran with it. It wasn't really intended to do the whole mercenary thing, especially in a game like New World. It wasn't really structured for that sort of gameplay, but it worked out, and we just ran with it. And with the structure of Ashes of Creation and all the crazy systems that they've got, they really open that up, and there's definitely seems to be a need that can get filled with the whole mercenary playstyle. So
nice. Hey Nemesis, how you doing? Hey King, how you doing? Welcome in, guys. Perry, you want to go ahead and ask him the next question? So we're doing a 2-for-1 tonight. You get a special tonight, Psycho.
Well, I was just gonna say, that's like what a great honor that you built a reputation out of being a mercenary guild, because that's pretty tough in itself in any MMO. So you have had to have a good reputation, and then this coming over, I imagine you're going to do even better. But let's see.
That's the hope, yeah.
Let's see. Did I say the suspect name? Did you already ask the suspect name, or did we already go over that or not?
Nope.
So where did suspect come from?
So it was kind of an inside joke from the guild that we left to make Suspect. It kind of just circled the drain, and it didn't fit with what we had planned or what we were told the guild was going to be anymore. So we left, and there was a lot of distrust and there a lot of trust issues from the old guild leader, and it was kind of an inside joke that we were always suspect of doing something nefarious when that really wasn't happening. So it was kind of an inside joke, but it also kind of fit the whole mercenary thing, where it's like, if we're being hired for whatever, you never know if we're there for, we're always suspect of being involved in whatever fight's going on.
It's a little sus in here. Yeah, that's
I'm not gonna lie. There was a guild in Arcage, and your name reminds me of that, because the name if you were reported by a player, you would get this suspected player icon over your thing, and their name was like suspected user or something like that, and it was great. It makes perfect sense. So tell me a little bit about your recruitment process, Psycho, and what qualities and potential, or just what qualities in general are you looking for potential members that are going to look to join you?
So we're not aggressive about recruitment at all. Pretty much the extent of our recruitment is just once a week we post on the Ashes of Creation Discord recruitment channel, and we bump our forum posts every once in a while. We kind of prefer, because we've built kind of a history and a reputation, I would prefer people come to us through word of mouth. And that's kind of how we grew in New World as well. Is like we kind of just did our thing, and we were successful at it, and people heard about it, and that's where we ended up growing. So I kind of like to stick with that trend if possible. We're not we're not aiming to be a mega guild or anything, huge or anything like that. That would be a little too much headache for me.
Do you so you're pretty loose then? Because the follow-up question on that was, what are your criteria that they do they have to have any criteria, or do they seem to have like to breathe?
18 or older, racial,
18 or older,
whatever,
do they have to have a mic required?
Rules. So even on our Discord, our main rules page pretty much covers, pretty much the same rules that we have for our Discord server is the same rules that we got for the guild. So, 18 or older, mutual respect, treat everybody like your friend. And that's pretty much it. Just don't be
Can I add everyone my feet pics?
I think that would be a DM situation. I'm not sure that
that's a harassment thing.
I didn't hear a definite no.
To leadership.
I didn't hear a definite no, Perry. Did you? So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah. He's saying there's a chance. Yes. There's a link to OnlyFans or Only Beards or Only Feet and below. So yeah,
absolutely. Hey, Perry, why don't you go ahead and ask the next question, my friend?
Being a mercenary guild, how do you think you're going to make the most gold out of all the jobs you intend to take? What do you think is going to be the most common, like caravans, whatever? Just kill contracts. What is it?
Well, the idea is that we're gonna be doing like the whole umbrella of mercenary contracts. We're gonna have a lot of variety with providing services, but I think probably the majority of our work and business is probably going to come from caravan escorts or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I would assume.
Me.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, before we get off too far, I want chat to hear that Psycho said he's giving Peon a discount. It was 50%. Was it 50%? Because my Overlord guys, they're all late night guys. I'm an early morning riser, so I'm going to need some protection. So I'm looking to you guys. So, but I'm thinking, I just, I'm running Peon for mayor. So everyone Peon for mayor, vote for me. Go ahead. I'm looking for a discount. What can you do for me, brother?
We're gonna have to talk about that. I think that's a conversation for behind the scenes.
It was more of a coupon situation we were talking about before. Maybe, coupon.
I told you that in confidence, okay?
How about can we get like a 2-for-1?
Yeah.
I mean, we, in all honesty, like joking aside, we may end up doing some discounts and stuff like that for return patronage and whatnot. I mean, that's just good.
Like
business.
an Amazon Prime Day, like special deals.
Yeah, Thursdays you get 10% off. Yeah.
That being said, Clover did a pretty good job as mayor. Again, I might not get the main town gullet. I might just have to go off to some ghetto little village and take care of that one. Maybe I'll just recruit like 100 people and have them vote for me. I'll pay them off, but with all the money I saved from the caravan trading. But this is one of the questions that I have, and this is, not on the list. So we talked about this earlier. So what kind of if I was interested in, say I didn't know you and I was interested, how would I find you? I hear you have this really good website that you're talking about. And people are going to be able to use that website and kind of get a rough idea how much it's going to cost to get your services. And then you're going to contact them, I'm assuming pretty quickly. And then they'll be able to work something out for you.
Yeah. So our website, it's very basic right now, but, we plan to improve and add more to it later. But currently the website has a contract form on it. And it's more of like a first contact, like give us a general idea of what you want services wise, and then we get back to you and hammer out the details and talk about pricing and stuff like that. We're not gonna have a public facing pricing model because that can kind of harm us later. We don't really want to advertise what our prices are because we gotta be competitive and keep that a little closer to the chest. So
we talked about this briefly earlier. I know you probably haven't decided fully on it, so I'm going to give you an out on this one. But as of right now, if Alpha 2 started today, right, and there's really no consequences because it's Alpha 2, right? You know, it's not like it's a live game. So you're going to have a chance to test this out. But what's your stance? Am I going to have, if I want a caravan, am I going to have to go ahead and pay up first, or are you going to collect after you deliver it successfully? And is my delivery guaranteed by you? Do I have the seal of a Psycho seal?
That is a very good question. Excuse me. So that's our conditions as far as like negotiating contract parameters and stuff like that is still being discussed. It's not just me. I have a whole council of members that I consult on like really important decisions and stuff like that. It's more of a round table of sorts. So
can you throw the peon discount in that one?
He's pushing.
I mean, you're wearing me down, okay?
All right, I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
Keep going.
No, we I think that's still open-ended right now on how we're going to handle it. And we, like I was telling you earlier, we may even have to handle specific types of contracts differently. So like I'm not saying this is our commitment to this model or anything, because we, you know, it still needs to be discussed and figure out the best case scenario for both parties, not just for us. So just for an example, I mean, there's for caravans, you know, you're already taking a risk trying to take your goods to wherever your destination is as a caravan, right? So it would kind of feel pretty bad if we were asking, like, typically for you know, when I was playing Eve online, we would have like a half now, half on delivery sort of arrangement, and that kind of worked for most things. But I think for Ashes, we're going to have to adapt a little bit, and we may end up having to do like contract specific pricing and arrangements as far as what's expected. So, you know, as a caravan, going back to the caravan thing, it would kind of feel bad to ask for half up front if you're already risking your entire caravan worth of goods, and you might be relying on that caravan worth of goods to pay us. So, I mean, theoretically, nothing's set in stone right now, but I would feel like just my gut reaction would be, you know, we only get paid if we get you there, kind of thing. But
I like that.
Again, like I'm not promising any of that. We still need to talk about it, but that's kind of how my gut feeling is.
One of the things that I wanted to bring up, because I brought it up to you earlier when we talked privately, I think that maybe in your pricing system now, there probably shouldn't be too much of a difference between like maybe 4 players and 8 players, but what you should suggest to them, and this is my own thinking as a consumer being able to use you can give them the option to run with 4 people to where it would be cheaper. But if they decide to do, you're going to recommend for their specific load and where they're going that they use 8 people. So if they choose to go cheap out and go cheap and get 4, then you go ahead and say, fine, you can have 4, but you need to know that your load is not guaranteed because we're recommending 8. So I think that would be a good way for you to maybe protect yourself a little bit more.
Yeah, there's a number of different ways we can handle it, and like I said, we've already been discussing it and kind of shooting ideas around, but a lot of the decisions that I try and make for the guild, specific to Ashes, I'm trying to hold off on until we get into Alpha 2 and really understand the systems and possibilities of what we can work with as far as anything that we do as a guild, even outside of contracts. So but yeah, I think it's something that's still open air until we get into Alpha 2 and really dial in what the needs are of people and kind of adapt to that and adjust to come to something practical and something that makes sense for both parties.
Sounds good.
With your type of sorry to cut you off there. With your type of guild being mercenary guild, or how do you feel about content creators within your guild? Are you going to be like no streamers whatsoever, like secretive, or is there going to be weirdness, or you just don't even care?
So no, we do have some stipulations in our expectations part of our welcome packet when new people are asking to join. We're totally open to streamers and content creators. We've already got a few in the guild, and we completely encourage that. All the best for them. We want to support them in any way we can. But when it comes to specific tactics or combat comms, if we have that stuff going on, in an open world game like Ashes, there's certain things that you need to protect yourself against, not only just for us but for our clients too. So it's to our clients' benefit that there's certain things that we restrict. Like if you're live streaming and we're on a contract, then if you want to live stream, then you're not going to be on that contract. And you're not going to be in battle comms for that specific contract. Do
you think delayed streams will be a thing, or is that going to be enough? Like usually people are like, no, it's not enough. We want to be completely secretive. Yeah. Typically
that's not enough in my experience. But I do think that's open to conversation. I don't want to just say a hard no on that, but at the same time, I'm leaning pretty heavy that way, just because in my experience, especially in a game world as big as Ashes, it's not hard to find out where you are.
Yeah, or where you're going to, right?
Yeah,
like you're just going to point A.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. There's definitely going to be like trade routes and stuff that people are familiar with, especially on the sea, and there's going to be bottlenecks on terrain and all kinds of topographical restrictions that, you can kind of deduce where people are going to be at certain times. So that's why I'm leaning like, we probably shouldn't even have a delay, but at the same time, we don't want to discourage our content creaters either. So
just making sure that
I think,
even though I'm not like a content creator for you, I'm with Overlord. No, all love to Suspect, but I love Overlord. Just saying. And I even have a dwarf friend from Dunehold shaking my head, shaking my Renkai head.
Yeah.
But
everybody's
Peon welcome.
Peon,
welcome to come into the Discord and say, hey, is a diplomat and a future mayor.
You're not getting that mayor slot. Not a million years.
One day you're gonna rue the day you said that. You stuck little shit.
Yeah,
you're gonna rue the day.
That in server first, Overlord's not gonna make it. I'm sorry. Big words.
Overlord.
There's a lot of guilds out there. I'm sorry.
Overlord, are we hearing this?
I'm voting for Peon. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Oh my God, Golan and Pally, I can't believe you heard it first, right? Clip that shit and send it. Oh my God.
Oh, now you're holding me accountable. Okay.
No, not you. It was all Perry. Man, talking mad smack. So how are you going to reward loyalty and dedication within your guild? Giving them a discount, 5-finger discount, or what are you giving them?
You mean if the guildie wants a contract?
Yeah.
Done? Like if they want their caravan
free, right?
No, we take care of our own, man.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought.
Yeah, we take care of our own. I'm not gonna charge our guildies for helping them out. No.
What if you don't like it very much?
Ruthless guild. Yeah, this is like very gold based.
I mean, if I had Perry in my guild, I'd charge him double.
Yeah. I'll never be in your guild. It's okay.
That's funny. So, what are you gonna say? How do you plan to handle node sieges and some of the other large scale conflicts, such as node wars and node sieges? And they're going to segue into another topic with this one.
So are you asking like how we would handle that in general, or how would we handle it if we were
let's say Perry is the mayor of Shitland, and he goes ahead and asks you to he needs your help, So just kind of go through that process.
Not shit in Shitland.
How do you avail your services for Shitland?
Well, the real question is he paying us to do it? That's the question. Okay.
Yeah, he's paying you.
Shitland.
Now, there might be. So you have Shitland, and then you have Heavenly Haven, which is my node. Okay. Now both of us, but before you accept his offer, are you going to say, hey, we know that you're at war with these guys? Before you accept it, are you going to talk to both of us first? Because say maybe you like me a little bit more, because he is from Shitland.
So I'm glad you brought that up, and this has kind of been a similar question has been asked of us in the past, and basically our point of view or our perspective on that situation is that we would need to remain very clinical about it and neutral as possible. So the idea is, I mean, I know it's a lot to ask of gamers to act like adults, but say for example, Peon, you hired us to do a contract for you the day before, right? And we fulfilled that contract. Everything was great, hunky dory, right? But Perry wants to hire us tomorrow. Well, great, we're gonna do that. But the very next day, we would hope that you'd still want to hire us back again, But
just remember, he's from Shitland. Take that into consideration.
Hey, man, one man's trash, right?
I mean, another man's shit. Yeah. Gosh.
So,
but honoring the contract and right, it's more about your reputation. So
exactly, yeah. The reputation is the important part, and especially I feel the same way about any guild, but especially it's more important for a mercenary guild because you live or die by your reputation. And if you're caught doing shady backdoor business deals and stuff like that, or someone says, oh, I want to pay you a bunch of money to throw this contract when you go out and do this contract for these people and just purposely fail or whatever.
Yeah, 100%.
Then you're killing your business, right?
That's what I wanted to hear, because
yeah, you kill your reputation and you've burnt bridges for the entire server.
No,
right?
and I'm sure there will be some. And that's what I think everybody wants to hear, that they can trust you. And
exactly,
I love hearing that.
Trust is everything. So
you heard it here first.
If we commit to a contract, we follow through, period. And that's how we need to handle things. Because our word is our bond. So
even if I offered you a night with Perry's dwarf white, you would go ahead and still
Jesus. Come
on.
You're getting thin ice,
stomper time. All right.
I mean, all right. I'm about to call Doonhold to be in here. I'm surprised they're not. Thogly is going to have a heart attack when he sees this stream.
All right, go ahead, Perry. Man. Ask away.
So the future for Suspect. So you're just going to be a mercenary guild. Are you going to have like a guild cap? Are you already at your guild cap at the moment? What do you see in the future for? Are you just going to ride that train?
So we've always kind of tried to avoid quoting like specific numbers because we want to maintain a certain, or at least a rough, leadership to membership ratio, and that's kind of how we've always wanted to keep things, so that because I've seen so many guilds just grow too quick, too fast, or too big, too fast, I should say, and they crumble over under their own weight of membership because they don't have the infrastructure of leadership to support that. And I want to avoid that if possible. So, and that's going back to our recruitment. That's another reason why I'm not being, why we don't want to be aggressive about recruitment, is because we don't want to grow too big, too fast. And, again, back to the whole reputation thing, we want to let our reputation recruit for us and get that word of mouth.
Oh, and by the way, congrats on being at the Guild Summit. That was a great stream at the Golden Feather Tavern, and shout out to them. Great crew.
And then GB and Vertex don't get enough credit. They put way too much work in those streams. They need more credit for that, for sure.
They've been doing a long
they
time.
do a great job. They do a great job. Yes, shout out to the Golden Feather Tavern and Chibi and Vertec, and really all the content creators. I know we recycle a lot of the same users over and over and over that watch us because we are the Ashes the loyalists, and it's going to get pretty crazy here in the next few months. So it's going to be up to all of us who are following these streams and have been for the last 7-8 years to keep people in check that are coming in. We want to keep fostering this really good community that we have. So it's going to be up to us because it can get out of control quick. We don't want some League of Legends atmosphere or something like that in here. So let's keep that the hell out.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Did you even play any MOBAs, Peon? You didn't even play any MOBAs. Did you play League of Legends?
I did.
Did you play Dota?
I played League of
Han
Legends.
Or any of them?
Yeah, I played Dota. Yep.
Some of my members play MOBAs, and I know the mentality, so I deal with that directly.
Wizard 85 had a question. What if how are you going to deal with guilds maybe frowning upon you because you're dealing with their enemy? I mean, you try to take a neutral stance, I would imagine. So you try not to get involved in those guild politics. Again,
like I said, we're gonna have to keep it very clinical and neutral. Sure, we're friends with guilds right now. Like I think we're on good terms with Overlord and Axiom. We got friends in a lot of guilds, and I think that with enough relationship and just knowing how we do things and who we are, that there will be a mutual understanding of like, hey, there's no hard feelings. We're still friends tomorrow, kind of thing. It's just business, kind of.
If they attack you, though, are they blacklisted forever?
No.
Is it going to be like one of those grudge? A lot of guilds are just like, oh, you're just done.
In all honesty, I'm excited for that. Because it's not often, like, say you're in an alliance or something like that. When are you ever going to have a chance to have like a casual fight with your friends in your alliance? You're not. So I do think that you can kind of like make some fun out of it and be a little playful about, haha, I just stomped Peon, because we were contracted to the other side or something like that. I'm throwing you under the bus, Peon. I'm throwing you under the bus.
Tissue lies. Okay. Get out of here. Banned.
No, but we're gonna try and keep things as neutral as possible, and that's another thing as far as alliances go. Like, we're gonna have to see a little bit more detail about how alliances are handled and guilds systems in general. And that's another reason why we kind of, just being the nature of a mercenary guild, we kind of need to avoid the whole alliance situation if we can, unless it's like very special circumstances, because no matter how neutral you try and keep things in an alliance, if a mercenary guild's in an alliance, you're always going to be assumed that you're giving favoritism, and that's not something that we can really do good business with. So
now this next one, Psycho, is a 2-part question. So, and you might have already answered it because of what you just talked about, but maybe there's something else that is more of a pressing need. What are your biggest challenges that you foresee in Suspect and Ashes of Creation? And the follow-up to that is, how are you going to overcome those challenges? What do you see as the biggest threat to the viability of your mercenary guild?
Other
than Peon getting a discount.
That's a hard question. Yeah, that's a hard question to answer, honestly. There's a number of things that can, create speed bumps for our progress as a guild. And
Trading
just
with
like
dwarfs
any other
is one
guild.
of them.
Yeah. I don't know.
Can't trust those little sons of bitches.
But there's a lot of things that we're going to need to be very careful about. And I've seen guilds
Psycho was
rise
the
and
death of
fall
Saul tomorrow.
for
You can insult him as much as you
small
want.
petty problems that they didn't nip in the bud, right? So I think the challenging thing is mainly just trying to keep on top of problems and not let them fester and get bigger. It's a lot easier to deal with problems when they're small, even if there's a lot of them.
Did you hear
But
that?
if
You hear that
put
small
them
joke?
off,
Even if they're small, yes. So
Yeah,
yeah,
he's even
a
throwing the
little
short
bit on
jokes
the
in.
nose.
Yeah.
Psycho. A little bit on the nose, but I'll let it slide.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're.
Oh, hell, look
But
at this, guys. My wife brought me my mojito.
Wow, is it a
And
mojito?
peanuts.
Delivery
Holy
service.
shit. Thank you, dear. Woo, mojito time. All right. Sorry to interrupt you there, Psycho. Please continue if you can remember what you were saying there.
Yeah. I think that's mainly the thing. I know that's kind of a broad answer for you guys, but it's really, I can't really say anything specifically without giving other people a target for us. But there's always problems that you're gonna have to deal with, and a lot of them
be one of them?
surprises. Yeah, of course. Everybody's going to have to deal with spies. And just like we were talking about earlier, that it's unavoidable. You can't prevent it. It's going to happen. Someone's going to sneak in and try and cause damage. But it's instead of trying to prevent it and make that wall, you just have to mitigate as best you can and compartmentalize enough to where, if they do cause damage or leak something, it's very minimal, and it's not going to sink the whole ship. So
I have a suggestion for you. I believe that you should make your treasurer Pockets Art. I think he's trustworthy. And if anybody is a dwarf in your guild, make sure that you don't trust him, because their beard covers up their lips. So you can't really see what they're saying behind you.
In there.
Yeah,
It's mainly just food, though, for
and
later.
they're crossing
It's
their
not,
toes and shit when they talk to you. So just be careful. Watch those dwarfs.
You make snacks for later. Yeah, that Pockets guy, I don't know about that guy.
Yeah, you might as well kick him.
He's pretty shady. I don't know if we can trust that guy. I think we're gonna have to take some action on that.
Would you say you're a strict guild? Strict on all your I mean, of course, the basic policies of not being an asshole and racism and blah blah blah. But just in general, would you say you're up there?
Well, they told me no feet pics, so that's already harsh.
Yeah, that's that's pushing the line for us. Yeah. No, honestly, that's something that we pride ourselves on. We and even other people that come in the Discord that aren't guild members, they come in and hang out with us sometimes. They've also said that we're one of the more laid back guilds that they've experienced and hung out with, and that's something that I'm very proud of, because making a guild, I've seen too many guilds be so restrictive on things, and it feels like a second job. And if you're trying to cultivate a community of friends and just try and make that home away from home to just hang out, the last thing you want to do after a long day of work or school or whatever you're doing, the last thing you want to do is come home and get on with your guild and have massive expectations and quotas that you got to meet and all this other junk. And I've been in enough guilds to realize that that's just, it feels like a chore, and it doesn't feel like a home, basically. So I try and pride ourselves and cultivate that culture of just being laid back and a group of friends to hang out with. You don't want a second job to come home to.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead, Greg.
Go ahead. Well, I was just going to make the joke that to be an Ashes player, you have to have a wife and kids and a job. Like minimum. That's like, or just at least a content creator.
Any Ashes player is a boomer.
Yeah. It's a fact. It's just...
So, hypothetical. Perry, who's in Dunehold, decides to leave Dunehold because they didn't give him enough treasure. He says, "Fuck you, Dunehold," and he leaves. How are you going to integrate him if you even accept him in the first place, which I wouldn't. But anyway, if you even decide to accept him into Suspect, how are you going to integrate him into your guild? What's your welcoming process? I mean, do you take him out and beat him with a stick, or do you make him fight to the death, or what do you do? Yeah. I mean, it's got to be some kind of hazing or something like that you're going to do.
Well, we have specific members in our guild that do plenty of that for me, so I don't have to worry. No, I mean, we just in a situation like that, I would probably, I'd probably contact Dunehold and be like, hey, what's up? So and so just applied. Just want to make sure everything's cool.
Smart man.
Or, and
you do background checks on people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, hey, man, sometimes you got it, but it's more from that point of view. It's less about you specifically, Perry, and it's more about keeping those bridges from burning.
Yeah, exactly. So, reputation again. Yeah.
Yeah, reputation is everything. So, and obviously, if there was some big issue and drama going on, then we would want to know about it before we bring you in, right? So,
do you plan on going at war with anybody? And let's say that another guild, that Dunehold clan again, let's say they're trying to poach one of your members. They're trying to poach him behind your back. What do you do? Is that something war worthy that you would consider?
So.
That's a really good question.
That is a good question. I think that going back to the whole reputation thing, if Dunehold I don't want to say this because it might.
It's okay. I'll let you say it. I'll let you get a pass.
Hypothetical. Yeah. If Dunehold was doing that sort of thing,
they'll do it for sure. They're dirtbags. And I say that out loud. Shit.
Then I think it wouldn't take long for that reputation to get out there. And on our part as Suspect, I would hope that we have enough confidence in our members that if they are unhappy at Suspect, then they would tell us. And if someone does get poached, then they probably didn't want to stay here in the first place. It's kind of how I look at it. So. I would say no hard feelings for the individual that hypothetically gets poached, but I'm definitely gonna have a few notches knocked off my respect meter for Dunehold if they were doing that sort of thing. So word gets around fast, so
now how do you plan on divvying up the spoils? So say 8-man group goes, are you planning on making it even across the board, or is there a guild Suspect tax first, and that goes into the guild bank and then the rest gets shared?
Yeah, we've talked about this, and again, we need to see in reality how things work in Alpha 2 and really dive into how the systems are.
Well, I'll give you 100 gold to take
but...
my cart to Shitland and drop it off. So
okay,
how much do I get? Or how much are you guys going to get for 8-man?
So my current stance on this, and again, this can change depending on how my council feels about it, and we can kind of hash it out. But my current stance on things is we would split things evenly after a very small guild tax to put into guild coffers, because there's definitely going to be overhead costs to guild functions and maintenance and stuff like that, especially if there's an exclusive blueprint or recipe or whatever that goes on the auction house or whatever, it would be in our best interest as a guild to get that if it's useful to us, so that our crafters will have exclusive access to it, and in turn our members, our contractors, would have exclusive access to that piece of gear or whatever. So in situations like that, it would be beneficial for us to have a very small tax on our contracts, so that we can facilitate stuff like that to
that brings up a good point.
Progression. Yeah,
that brings up a good point, because I don't know if they've said it before, but I remember Warhammer Online had a guild tax, and I wouldn't be surprised if they have a guild tax already built into the game that you could set the percentage of as a guild leader. So in theory, if you're getting that, if players are already paying that tax, then you might not even have to tax them because all the farming and everything else like that is coming to you anyway. So then you could just split it up among the people.
If that was the case, if they had a built-in game tax specifically for and games that typically do that, it's usually a tax on everything. If they do that sort of system, and I've seen, at least in the games that I've experienced, they've done it that way. But if that was the case, then yeah, we wouldn't be taxing our contracts. We would just be splitting that evenly. At least in my current stance would be everyone gets an even split, no matter who you are, including myself. You know, if I'm on that contract, I'm getting just as much as you are. That's kind of how I feel about it.
You know, I just wanted to point out, as far as guild or as far as taxes go in general, and you know, nodes will have taxes as well. You know, as a mayor of Heavenly Haven, I will only charge no more than 5%. So just keep that in mind. So peon for mayor. So Perry,
it's interesting.
An orc at Heavenly Haven? That doesn't sound right at all.
Heavenly Swamp?
To me.
You don't belong there.
Yeah, it sounds like my swamp. Okay, so
just real quick on the whole taxes thing. Just to give people an idea, when I say small tax, I mean small tax, because how we handle things in New World are we held Windsward for a very long time, and we kind of built the reputation of, you know, the whole server kind of wanted us there because we had good infrastructure that serviced the citizens there at that settlement, and we kept our taxes very reasonable. And when our alliance asked us to change our taxes to increase to theirs, which was quite a bit more, we kind of, you know, we were the underdog of our alliance, and it was kind of a stressful situation of like, well, we don't think this is going to be good for the community on the server, and it'll kind of shoot us in the foot if we do this. And you know, we fully expected to be kicked out of the alliance for telling them no, but we held our stance on that because we knew it was the right thing and it was fair to the server and the citizens and that were using our town. So, and fortunately, I mean, to their credit, they you know, I had a lot of respect for the alliance lead at the time, because I was totally expecting that we'd get kicked out of the alliance and get war decked immediately, right? But to their credit, they said, okay, I'll get back to you. And it turns out the rest of the alliance matched our taxes, and the whole server was a better for it.
Oh, wow.
Something that we were very proud of and did not expect at all, because we were the smallest guild in the alliance. They didn't even want to take us on at first. We were definitely the underdogs, and it was kind of a big deal. So when I say small percentage, I mean small percentage.
Perry, what do you got for him?
Oh, I was gonna. Well, that brings me up another question too. But obviously, like I hire pockets over and over and over again.
That's a mistake.
Is there like a well, that's a whole nother topic. But is he going to get, or your guild member is going to get rated on how many contracts they take or things like that? Is there a rating system? And can people hire whoever they want from your guild, or is it going to be randomized?
So in our current format right now, and again, things can change if we feel like it's for the better, but our current format for now is that all contracts go through leadership first. And we either cherry pick, you know, if they're asking for like premium, the best of the best PvPers for this contract, you know, we can be like, okay, well, they're busy on another contract right now or whatever, or that'll be, you know, we'll have to charge a premium for that because they're busy with other things or whatever. You know, we can kind of either cherry pick or have opt-in, like, you know, this is a contract. We got to keep things real quiet as far as keeping anonymity for our clients, especially for like leaks, even if they're accidental. Like, I'm not even saying like I would say that our members would purposely leak that. There's accidents happen all the time.
Yeah.
So, just for anonymity purposes, we would try and have that set up so that people can opt into a contract, but they don't know who it's for or whatever. But as far as like individual basis or something like that, if you only want one person to help you out with something, then it's better to just go one-on-one with them instead of go through the whole guild contract thing.
Well, I mean, are you gonna?
And we're not gonna have like an in-guild rating system of like,
Grumpy.
Well, like
this person is A grade or whatever,
Well, I mean, you take too many, like you got 100 contracts, and you at the end of the month, it's like a police officer. I wrote this many tickets or whatever. I filled my quota, so to speak.
Quota of contracts.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, oh, you get a bonus.
That's
or
actually
whatever.
a really good idea. But what am I? What if I come in as a client and say, say I walk over to the suspect's freehold? Are you gonna, and I'm, it's like I'm walking into a Thai bar or something like that. Are you gonna line up the mercenaries for me so I can choose which ones I want? So I can just ignore the dwarfs because I don't want any dwarfs.
Four pockets. He's gonna be last picked.
I just want to make sure that I can pick who I want. I don't want no scrub. Scrub is the one ain't getting no love from me.
Gosh. The platinum package. We signed up for the platinum package. We better get the platinum package. So
Well, and that's the thing is like,
I spare no
you
expense.
bring up a good point too. Is that we would definitely be putting who we would consider most fitting for any specific contracts, and even just to kind of like hedge our bets on some of the contracts, if people who are new to the whole mercenary thing and they're just getting into PvP or something like that, we'll just throw we can throw them extra mercenaries in for training. And well, I mean, I don't mean that to sound bad. It's good training for new people that want to learn the ropes and stuff like that. And the client gets a bonus on top of it because they got more mercenaries than they originally bargained for.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, numbers usually wins battles. Makes sense.
Yeah, I like that idea. Let's see. How can you already mentioned your website, and I don't know, have you released that website to the public first? And
it's up right now.
Okay, so make sure you guys check that. You can go ahead and send me the link if you would, and I'll post it in here.
Yeah.
Also, how can, other than the forums and the website, can people just click on your Discord in there and get in touch with you to become part of Suspect?
Yeah, of course. We even have an application. Our application is through Google Docs, but we have that embedded in our website. So if you go to the Join Us button on our website, you can fill out an application right there, or you can do it through the Discord. We won't be accepting any applications from people who are not in our Discord already. So we have an open door policy for people joining the Discord, and then we restrict membership areas beyond that.
Do you have shorter doors for dwarfs?
Yeah. It has a really short archway.
There you go. Wouldn't want to make them feel left out.
We just want to verify who's who and make sure they're a real person, not a bot just putting in applications or something like that. So let me send you the website here.
So let's start moving on into some of the unless there's something else you want to talk specifically about the guild, let's start moving on to some of the Ashes creation, because as everybody knows here, we had a banger of a live stream. First of all, this is a question, this is not related to the live stream, but what drew you to Ashes of Creation, and would you still play Ashes of Creation if they didn't have the node system?
I think so. I think I would still play it just because we're all so desperate for. Sorry, my family's walking around.
You're good.
And they're phasing in.
It's all ghosts.
But yeah, I think I'd still play it anyway, just because everyone's so desperate for a good MMORPG, right? Even if it didn't have the node system. What drew me at first to the game was its similarities to Arcade. I think that Arcade could have still been one of the biggest games, one of the biggest MMORPGs out there if they didn't try to money grab it.
Yeah, 100%.
I really do. I think that it was so unique at the time, and even if you compare it to games now, it's still unique. Well, I guess it's not anymore because they closed it down. But if they weren't greedy about it and tried to cash grab everybody from the shop and adding the whole pay to win and everything and the whole like gambling for gear and stuff like that, I think that if they had kept to the long haul, they would have still been successful. So that's kind of the main thing that drew me to it, because when Arcade first came out, I had a blast. It was great. It was so good for guilds too, because there was so much that you needed to do to work together. And it's kind of like that nostalgia throwback to when the game could have been really great. And
I just want the bard to have the do 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 do. That's what I want. Now, you brought up Arcade. Now, I loved Arcade, and you're right. That was a great game if they could have just gotten out of their own way. But here's the thing. Even in Arcade, we all know that there was a lot of lag when it came in. Hang on, we got an ad break. Let me see if I can cancel it. There was a lot of lag when the castle.
Get that shit back up. We trying to play.
And ads.
Fix this shit.
Snoop Dogg playing in the background. There was a lot of lag playing. I love that one. A lot of lag when they were doing castle sieges, or say somebody was running a library or they were running Halcyon or something like that. So what do you think about Steven's new dynamic server meshing that they're putting out, server gridding? I've played a lot of MMOs in my life, and that's one of the draws. And I put a video out on YouTube that's one of the draws that everybody is wanting, is to have a game that we can actually have that massive multiplayer open world PvP. And I really truly believe this after listening to them. I think we finally have it, and I'm super excited.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I think for their application specifically for what Ashes of Creation needs, I have pretty high confidence they're going to be able to pull it off. And a lot of that confidence is because they've got the PlanetSide 2 netcode guys on it. And that is truly inspiring, confidence inspiring, because the PlanetSide 2 still holds the Guinness record on most players in a single battle, period. And so if they know anything about stressing server load, it's those guys. So I think that I have more confidence in Intrepid being able to pull off what they need specifically for Ashes of Creation. And I know that like the whole comparison to Star Citizen thing is happening, but I think Star Citizen has created like a whole host of their own problems to solve this whole server meshing thing for them specifically.
They're snagging up so much good talent. It's so wonderful. Like the lighting from Red Dead, the networking people from PlanetSide, which PlanetSide was. I was in the alpha for that, and I was in Mad Hatters, and dude,
so good.
It was so good. It was like, it was a magical moment in my life. I just love that. And we've talked about this plenty of times, but this is the turning point. I really do believe this is the turning point for MMOs. Like this is where, like, their networking, their system is getting to a point where we'll see another golden age of MMOs. So
yeah, I think the whole server meshing thing is going to become standard for MMORPGs. Honestly, I think that now's the time.
Don't mind him. To turn that.
I'm just gonna block
off
you on my screen.
Yeah, God.
But he's role playing a bard, is what.
Yeah, it's something. He's role playing something, all right.
These guys are killing me, man.
I
They're
totally
getting my
lost
cardio.
my train of thought. You're killing me, man.
All right. So, Perry, you take the next question because just make it Ashes related because I've been busy dancing. So,
let's see. Well, I was just telling about like, oh, it kind of reminds me of Blizzard. We've talked about that 100 times. It was like it just because of the whole new just the innovation of early Blizzard, just pushing things forward, not being scared of just making the same old content. It smells like early Blizzard again. Yeah, just super excited for it.
yeah.
Yeah, the A2 keys
Yeah,
and all that. Yeah, it's yeah, go ahead.
The whole Blizzard thing, like early Blizzard was full of passion and they weren't afraid to innovate, you know. And compare that to Blizzard now is like, oh, we got to stick to the success formula. We can't stray, can't color outside the lines from this because this is what makes us money. Their version of success means investors being happy instead of players. And I think that that's so refreshing about Intrepid is that they're all passionate gamers and they're all sick of that. And I think that that's why everyone has so much confidence in them over anything else out there right now because they're wearing their hearts on their sleeve right now.
Just that, but let's just take a deep dive and back look at Steven himself. I mean, you have a former gamer making a game for gamers, okay? That we've all talked about it in our secret circle that, boy, what would we do if we had the money to be able to do that? We'd love to make a game, right?
Everyone said that.
Yeah. He's doing it. He put his money where his mouth is. I'm sure he'd still have money even if it failed, but he put his money where his mouth is and he's doing it and he's hired. Okay, there's a few things about Steven that I want to really get out there. He not only has he hired awesome people, and even better now that unfortunately people have had all these layoffs, he's had the pick of the litter, but he has learned so much about the game development world. It's astonishing. I mean, I could never in a million years pick up the stuff that he's picked up. He's exceptionally well read and just a very, very intelligent person. And there's more. He is also an awesome DM. So anybody who goes into Ashes thinking that they're going to go ahead when the game launches and that's what they're going to get, you're fucking wrong. In 10 years from the day it launches, we are going to be looking at a completely different game with his passion and all those ideas spinning around in that head of his. You can only imagine the stuff that he's got ready to put out for us and the content that they said we'll be getting every 3 to 6 months.
Just to kind of touch on that point, something that we were talking about the other day, actually, we were talking about the map and kind of like having a loose discussion about, where we want the guild node to be, and where is this barony going to go, and all this stuff. And there was something you bring up a good point because there were some complaints about the map not wrapping, and I guess to explain better is like if you go to all the way to the north end of the map and you get to the barrier line or whatever, in some games what they'll do is that if you just keep going, you'll eventually end up in the south and come up from the south, right? Well, from as far as I'm aware, it's still this way. I think that Steven has said that they're not wrapping the map. No,
you'll hit a barrier.
And someone, I think it might have been Dolan that mentioned it, brought up a really good point when we were having this discussion, is that it allows them freedom for expansion content.
Yeah, no,
and
absolutely.
They don't tie the knot off the map as far as expansions, which, and if they did do that, if they did wrap the map, then it would make it so that you would have to go through an instance or a loading screen or something to a completely different map to experience the expansion content. But if they're not wrapping it, it allows them to expand the world map without having to break that immersion of.
I don't think I've ever heard that in any stream, or at least in my opinion, no one's ever even talked about that. That's wonderful.
Interesting
Yeah,
topic you brought up, though,
I'm gonna
about
take credit for that.
expansions.
I think it might have been Dolam. I might be wrong. I'm sorry if
It's
it
okay.
wasn't Dolam that brought it up, but
As far as expansions, what do you want to see as far as expansion? Do you want to see content, or how do you feel about level raises? Because I'm not big on the level raises. I would like to see just better secondary systems. My perfect system would be a Dark Age of Camelot, maybe PvP, and there would be a PvE version of the realm ranks. But other than that, I'm not big on level raises, because once I'm that level, I kind of want to stay there, because, you know, maybe your life changes or something like that, and you come back 2 years later, you're still
Right.
the same level.
You're
That's
way
nice.
behind.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
gears changed a little bit. Maybe recipes have changed a little bit. And they said we're going to be able to dismantle gear, so gear won't be worthless like Blizzard did to us and how they did us dirty. So I'm interested to see what your thoughts on it. What do you want to see?
yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think it always feels bad when, you know, you take a break from a game and you come back and, you know, you got to play catch up on everything, and it basically makes it feel like all the work that you put in previously is worthless, and that always feels bad. So as far as expansion content goes, I think content first, and new systems maybe. I would love to see new systems, but they are so stacked on systems right now that they have to be really careful about introducing more, because not only can get that can get overwhelming for players, but it creates new balance problems too. So they, as much as I want to see new stuff to do besides just plain content, I want to see new systems or maybe even new classes. But, you know, again, if they introduce a new class, even one new class, that's going to completely break the balance system of what they've got, and they're going to have to redesign some skills or, you know, class.
What would you think
like
about down the road? I had this thought earlier. What would you think about down the road in an expansion? We know that we have the augment system after level 25. What would you think about them adding a second augment class where you could have a total of 3 classes, like a multi-class,
like Arcade?
kind of like Arcade? Yeah. What do you think about that? You think that you could see that possibility happening?
I think that would introduce a much bigger multiplier to the problem of balance than even introducing a single class. I mean, yeah, Arcade was able to pull it off to, you know, a rough extent. There was always flavor of the month classes and metas, you know, revolving metas in any game, you know, and Arcade was no different, even with the whole triple class thing. But I think if you did allow players to do 3 instead of just 2, that the multiplier just skyrockets for balance issues and challenges. I think it would be a whole lot easier just to introduce one more class versus doing that.
That
One
and
of the
like professions too. Yeah, just I think in expansions it should just be minimal levels, if anything, and then like we talked about shipbuilding, you know, like or bringing back some kind of like professions like that, and then a new area, you know, and just keep building on that, and then the story arcs, add a bunch of story arcs. So yeah,
I was so sad when they they retconned shipbuilding, because that was one of the things that
I was totally going to be shipbuilding
doing that, because you know, my whole idea or strategy behind that was thinking back to Arcade, and like, how many times did your ship get destroyed in Arcade and you needed that ship repair kit, right? You know,
and that's going to be completely different now. You know, it's funny you guys bring up shipbuilding, because that was my next direction I was going to take you. But as you know, as long as we're on the shipbuilding, you know, the fact that he said it's going to cost great cost to repair your ships. Now we're going to be able. Hey, thank you for the follow.
Oh, Jamie.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks,
Raid. Hey, welcome everybody. Oh wow, hey guys, welcome guys. As far as the shipbuilding, it's going to be of great cost to go ahead and repair your ships, but you're going to be able to have that like Sea of Thieves mechanic and or Atlas mechanic where you can repair the ship. So as long as you have the materials. So a shipbuilder is not going to be able to repair your ship like, take an arc age where you take your 5 Shadigan sand and get it back in 5 minutes. So that's going to be a big thing. You could touch on that, but I also had a question. How are you going to handle the seas are a completely different dynamic for you. Again, thank you. Shout out to Jamie Chaos and Annie Lace over there. We will get a shout out for you in just 1 second. And how are you going to handle those seas with with your mercenary guild?
Yeah, we've already got a lot of people planning on just living on the open sea. So we're definitely going to have a naval division. But in some ways it makes it easier for us to do contracts, because if you're in international waters, you don't have to worry about corruption. So in some ways it makes it easier for us to do that. The odds of us getting naval specific contracts remains to be seen. Obviously we are going to accept those types of contracts, but how often that comes along is still, up in the air. We don't really know yet because we haven't seen the extent of naval content. But that is definitely something that we are interested in, and a lot of us are very, very excited for.
Yeah, very super excited. And I don't know if you saw it, but I had an interview with Black Sails. We did an interview with the Pirate Guild Black Sails, and if you haven't watched it, it was a pretty good watch. They have very interesting mechanics there, and they're coming. At least Black Sails is coming from Albion Online, so a very PvP centric guild.
They've been around. I'll have to catch up on that. I missed that one.
Yeah, it was good, and I'm very excited for the seas. I loved Arcade combat. I would like to. What my perfect dream for Ashes of Creation is to have the Sea of Thieves physics with kind of a mixed combat of Sea of Thieves, Arcade, and Atlas. Yeah.
So my expectations, I've talked about this before. My expectations for that is that at the very least, bottom end expectations is Arcade Naval, right? It's got to be, right? Mm-hmm. Very top end expectations, or they're not even expectations really, because I don't expect it to happen. But Sea of Thieves is the peak of that. Yeah. That graph, right? So
I'd love to shoot a dwarf out of a cannon.
Jeez.
That would be amazing.
Or jump into a megalodon mouth.
The right spot.
There's going to be krakens. There's going to be megalodons. There's going to be all kinds of huge sea monsters. Hopefully, there's going to be like whaling, because we saw like the spear, the open sea kind of stuff.
Oh
it's going to be like some. I cannot wait. Like hopefully it's going to bring the best stuff.
Harpoon clippers in Arcade were the most fun. Did you ever harpoon the bottom of the ocean floor and launch your boat? That was so amazing.
Oh yeah. I used to do treasure hunting all the time in Arcade. And what that brings me up to one of the points, because in Ashes they have the demarcation line, right? Similar to Ashes, where you can't go past it. You go past that line and you're basically a free fall. If they have harpoons, one of the things in Ashes or in Arcade was they would just kind of skirt and watch those merchant ships and fishing ships go on. They'd harpoon them and then they'd drag their asses out to sea and then kill them. So then they'd take their loot. Yeah. So that was a big thing. I would be surprised to see the same thing.
I'm very excited for naval, because even in the very basic form of what Arcade had for naval, there was still a lot of strategy involved in that. Mm-hmm. And it was even more dependent on strategy with your boats and ships, because they added that thing to where you couldn't glide to other ships or whatever from ship to ship. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people were salty about that, but you couldn't just go out with a single galleon and feel like you owned the seas. If you didn't have clippers with you for support and running battlefield tactics out on the sea, then you're probably not going to be very competitive. So I'm hoping that we'll have some similar scenarios when it comes to Ashes Naval.
I want to see water world level like trading and stuff like so there's like you can like hook your boats together and then like do trading like on boats and stuff like that. It would just be so cool. Obviously I don't think it's going to be going in that direction, but hopefully we can all dream.
Perry, I got a question for him, but you want to ask him one real quick? I'm going to excuse myself real quick. I have to let my mojito go. I'll be right back.
So explain to me Clippers again. So I didn't play. I played the very beginning of Arcade. So Clippers were what?
So if I remember correctly, because it was a long time ago, Clippers were the first like legit sailboat you got. I think you started out with a rowboat, if I remember right. It was a long time ago, but Clipper was basically the smallest and the fastest sailboat that you could get, and you could choose between two different types of clippers. I don't even remember what the other type of clipper was. It might have been a cannon clipper, but everyone always, anyone that knew what they were doing, they got the harpoon clipper, because not only was it just like ludicrous fun to harpoon the bottom of the ocean floor and crank your harpoon so that the buoyancy mechanics would launch you like a freaking rocket. It was a lot of fun. But even aside from that, just some of the crazy shenanigans, we even had like a what we called the land shark race in our guild. And when we got really bored, we would choose one end of the continent, and we would use all our clippers and harpoon ourselves across the land, and whoever got to the other side of the continent into the water won the race. And we went and got into all kinds of like crazy strategy for it. We even harpooned the airships that were going across and carried our boats. It was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun. I hope that with Ashes they have some just like off the wall silly stuff that you can do like that to just have fun. I get a lot of the RP
Steven.
guilds and stuff.
Hello, Steven.
Oh yeah, good old harpoon. Hey Steven, what's up, bud?
He knows I exist.
Yeah, good old harpoon races.
He knows me now. Thank you, Steven. I love you. Much love. One of the questions I wanted, I hate to interrupt you, but one of the questions I had mentioned my tongue, and I missed the question because I was letting my mojito go. What do you touched on it earlier as far as your guild size? How do you feel you're going to be? Tell me a little bit, what are your expectations for the guild perks and how it's going to benefit the smaller guilds as opposed to the larger guilds? As I'm hoping it really has an effect to let those larger or smaller guilds compete. And you said you're trying to keep your guild kind of small to medium. So let me get your thoughts on those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was one of my concerns, and I'm kind of like waiting to find out how exactly Steven and Intrepid are gonna handle the whole guild perk system, because from my layman's eyes, not having an inside look at how they're gonna do things yet, because we're not in Alpha 2, but my concern was that what's to stop mega guilds from just creating their own alliance and min-maxing the whole small guild perk system, and just like instead of going to guild cap, what motivation do they have to not just split into smaller guilds to take advantage of that perk system and just end up making their own alliance instead? So that's something that I've been thinking about for a while now, and have concerns about our own guild and Suspect, because we're already pretty sizable, and even though we don't want to be a mega guild, we may be at that 300 member cap by the time launch happens. It wouldn't surprise me if we were. We're about halfway there already. We're a little over halfway, I guess, but the guild perks thing, in my opinion, it's like there's a fine balance there. I feel like it may have created their own problem, because how do you not make those so strong that it encourages larger guilds to splinter into smaller guilds to take advantage of that.
That's the main thing.
While still giving small guilds the advantage that they need to kind of be competitive, right?
I think there lies the problem, or at least somewhat, is solved in what you said. Because let's think about that. If the benefits of the smaller guild are good, right, and let's hope that they are. Now, those bigger guilds are going to splinter off into smaller guilds because they're going to want those benefits to be more combat effective. But herein lies the problem. You start splintering off, either you're going to go ahead and buy subscriptions for 6 accounts, right? And, because you want to have... Hey, thank you for the follow. You're going to want to have control of those guilds. But if you just are giving it to your officers... This is where the drama comes in. The drama in the politics. Yep. Maintaining 6 separate guilds, thank you guys for the follow. Maintaining 6 separate guilds is going to be daunting for anybody. And it's going to be a very hard thing to try to manage. So I think at first, it's the honeymoon phase. Everybody's going to get along. Everybody loves each other. I love you, bro. But yeah, after that, 6 months in, people are, hey, guys, come to our raid. Man, I'm busy making my shit. I'm not helping you. I don't want to go. So that's what you're going to see. I'm putting my stamp on it right here. My peon stamp right there. Boom.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how Intrepid's going to balance that. I think it's going to be very important that they are very careful about how they handle that. Because if guilds are going to do that, then what's the point in having a member cap at all at that point, right? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how I look at it. But and that kind of brings up another point that we were talking about earlier before stream is. No matter how, in my experience anyway, when guilds split off into sister guilds and splinter off like that, it doesn't matter how well you treat your membership. If that person or group of people isn't in guild number 1, they're always going to feel left out to a certain extent. And it doesn't matter how well you treat them, how equal you keep things, it's going to... invite division within the guild, and that's something that I'm personally not wanting to deal with. I want to avoid that at all costs. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, myself and the rest of my members want to be competitive too, and they're gonna, if we're not min-maxing our guild perks and splitting off into smaller guilds, even though I don't want to do that, then our guild's going to have some divisive opinions about that. So that's something that I've been thinking about for a while now, and that I do have some pretty big concerns about, because I want to avoid the whole sister guild
spawning favoritism. You can't avoid it. Every guild's going to deal with it, especially with the system where you get plus 5% damage with the group system. The tiers apparently guilds can give, or you get gathering. It's people are going to freak about it, but it spawns people to maybe step up too. You got to look at it from both directions, and like you said, it's a lot of min-maxing. So yeah.
Now I'm going to put you on a spot here. I'm going to put you on a spot. This spot that's Psycho-Phobic. You're going on the hot seat. So, two-part question. I'm pulling at nice at Steven Sharif AMA. Okay, so I'm going to give you 2 questions. It's supposed to be 1. But here you go. Okay. What are your thoughts on the Alpha 2 people being able to buy back in? Are you for that, against that, or indifferent? And also, what's the date for Alpha 2? Exact date.
So I'm personally, I don't really feel like I could care less either way if people get access to Alpha 2 again. I'm not the type of person that feels so entitled because I've got Alpha 2 that nobody else can have it now, because that doesn't make sense to me. That mindset doesn't make sense to me. I can understand why people would be upset and frustrated that they that if they got the same things that previous Alpha 2 testers got, but they've already been clear that that's not going to be the case. So I don't really care either way. I don't think it's a big deal that they're allowing more people into Alpha 2. I think the more people that are allowed in to test and really stress things out to make it so that launch is actually good. I don't see how that should be frowned upon or
No, I agree. I absolutely agree.
If it's better for the game, in the long run at launch, then who cares?
Nope.
They're not selling pay to win, so I don't think it's.
I've heard a real divide. Like some people are just really pissed off about it, and some people aren't. It's like
kind of a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword because, like you said, Perry, some people are upset.
Frustrated about it. Yeah, but I just don't think it's a big deal for me anyway. For me personally, I don't care.
Let me into test, and I'm okay with anything. Speaking of that, go ahead. You're Alpha 1, and I'm Alpha 1. So I'm hoping that I'm in that 500 first group, but who knows? Steven, peon for mayor.
Really a good word for us.
So, how can I run my node if I'm last?
Yeah, everyone hopes they're going to be in that first wave, right? But they did say, Steven said for a long time that all Alpha 1 players are going to be
we'll get
in there before Alpha 2 starts. So I'm not really worried about it. Sorry, my kids are being wild.
Oh, that's all right. Don't worry about it.
You're good. We can't even hear them.
I'm not really worried about it. I think that, I can understand why some people would be frustrated about them adding conditions on to like, oh, we're only going to add, 500 or 1,000 at first and the rest have to wait. That doesn't feel good. I understand why people would be frustrated about that. Of course, I hope I'm going to be in there too. But, at some point we're going to get in before Alpha 2 starts.
We'll get in there at some point, and the whole, as I've told people, I'm not planning on taking vacation for the beginning of Alpha 2. I don't know about you, but I'm expecting it, not to be super great. I'm tempering my expectations. I'd love for it to be great, but let's face the facts. It's the beginning of Alpha 2. It's going to have some issues, and that's okay. And that's going to happen. But as we've seen, we've heard PI talk about it, how they said the progress got better and better and better. And I'm sure when Alpha 1 gets in, it's going to get better and better and better. So, and when Alpha 2 comes in, it's going to get better and better and better. I have the utmost confidence in what they're doing. And with that being said, here's something else. What do you think? I'm super excited. I'm super stoked. I'm not going to lie. What do you think about the Bard Showcase coming up at the end of the month? On the hype level, what level are you? We a 1? We 11? We a 0? What are we at?
So I wasn't planning on including Bard in any of my builds for what my main is going to be. But
me neither.
He's got child aggro.
Yeah, I got kid aggro. Sorry.
It's all right.
It wasn't in my planned build, but I'm still excited for it. I'm excited for what it means for group play, and that utility for groups. And I was in the rogue camp. I wanted to see rogue first. And summoner is probably the next on my list of things that I wanted to see before all the classes were revealed. But
I think the rogue coming in later is smart. The rogue and the summoner.
Yeah.
We've talked about that for a while. Here we go again.
Turn off those damn sound alerts, God. You're a nut.
Yeah, the girls talked about that for a while actually, and that. We're kind of I think most everybody's in the camp of thinking that because of the mechanics of rogues, that's probably why they're taking a little bit longer. They're taking more time with it.
And it helps to keep the spike, people die down, they enter a new class and whatnot, and it's going to keep people interested. So it's a double, thing right there.
Yeah.
Jeez.
All right, guys.
People are just gonna spam it.
Yeah, they do.
Oh
It's
my
way too
God.
cheap. We've talked about this.
Yeah, I'm
We're
gonna have to
make
raise
it at
these
least-
prices on these guys. They're killing me.
thousands. Next Bard song. Jeez.
What I was saying was that with the Bard coming up, but we know that the Rogue and the Summoner are big hooks for people. I think for me especially, I'm a big Rogue lover, and I love the fact that they're getting full stealth now, or true stealth. I'm assuming that's full stealth. But here's the thing: the Rogue, whether you love him or hate him, you're going to want to know what he can do. So when they put him in, he is going to draw people back. If they might have stepped away because maybe it wasn't right where they wanted at Alpha 2, him alone will bring eyes back to,
Right.
and that's great marketing. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Same with Summoner. It's right up there.
We've talked about that for a long time, actually, about Rogue being so, like, I don't want to say it's more important than other classes, but from a mechanics perspective, whether you plan on playing Rogue or not, you need to know what it's capable of and what its limitations are, because whether you're playing a Rogue or not, you're gonna have to deal with them. And I think that's, I mean, you could say that about any class, but I think just with stealth specifically, that is something that you need to get right. And if you don't get that right, then it's going to cause a lot of problems and a lot of salty people. So,
I was going to second that. Stealth out of any MMO, like stealth it will always will be the most powerful ability in the game. It just is.
Here's a question, and maybe chat can chime in on what they think as well. I'm trying to. I know the odds say that. I was listening to Vladis earlier, and shout out to Vladis. He's a good guy. Check out his stream if you haven't seen him. I'm sure everybody knows Vladis. But he believes that the Alpha 2 is going to last from 2 to 3 years. I am not in that camp. I believe as long as the secondary progression systems are in place and that there are game loops that are fully functioning, and the classes are somewhat balanced, that the game will be in a playable state until they add in more content. Do you guys agree? I'm thinking maybe a year and a half. I think any more, it's too long.
It is too long.
At least a year, just because of the sheer amount of systems that they need to hammer out and get right. But I think that people also need to consider how many players are going to be in Alpha 2. And they're going to have such a large pool of testers to break the game and figure out what's going on with it in a quick, in a pretty fast pace. They're going to have enough players to brute force it, basically, I think.
Yeah, it's like 15 times Mortal 2 online.
Right. And that's just something that we were talking about last year, is like when they ended the Alpha 2 packs, I think Steven quoted like something about 100,000 currently with access to Alpha 2, and that was 6 months before they stopped the packs. I think it was roughly 6 months before they stopped it. So it wouldn't surprise me if they've doubled that number by now, and I don't think they've mentioned any metrics on that since then. So it wouldn't surprise me if they've doubled that. And if hypothetically, if that's correct, 200,000 people is basically a full game launch worth of players. If every one of those people log in, that's simulating pretty much a full game launch. Sure, it's a smaller game. It's not Blizzard expansion level people, but that's a lot of people.
It's a good chunk of players, and with their new like system information gathering, like they've been talking about in all their streams, they're going to know what everyone's doing. And like you said, it's not going to be that long. That is with the pool and then their information they're getting from everything, they're going to knock out these bugs immediately. So it's not going to be 2 years. I really don't think that. Royer, not going to be 2 years.
No. I think
it could be if something went wrong, but I don't think that's the plan.
I think the main challenge that Intrepid is going to have is retention of testers. They're going to need, and that's where they're. I mean, they know this. They're going to be strategic about what content they're releasing to test next. They're going to pace it out, and I think that's why it's going to take at least a year for them to get through Alpha 2, because there's a lot of systems for them to test and get through. But if they pace themselves correctly, I think that they'll be able to have pretty good retention as far as testers go, and not, as long as they're not having any major issues that need extra testing for any one particular system. If they can pace that out properly, they'll be able to keep testers engaged and entertained enough to stick with it.
They seem to be very efficient.
If you lose that tester base, that slows you down a lot.
Oh yeah.
So
I don't think they're going to have a problem with that, though.
No,
I don't think so. I think
Vegas odds. I'm a betting man.
Well, do you guys have any? First of all, I would like to thank everybody who came in to chat tonight, and thank you all for showing up. We really appreciate it. Thank you for all the follows and the subscriptions. From the bottom of my heart, it really means a lot. Also, a huge thanks to Psycho-Phobic and Suspect and all his Suspect members and my Overlord members. And I don't think we had any dwarfs show up tonight to support Doing Hold. So just throwing that out there.
I don't know what the hell they're doing.
Would you like to go ahead and do you have anything that you want to Perry and then or Psycho first and then Perry? Do you have anything that you'd like to talk about before we end the before we end the stream?
I think we hit the nail on the head. Yeah.
I think I'm good. I just had a blast just hanging out and BSing with you guys. This has been fun.
Good. We're happy to have you back. And, if you'd like, I'd like to have you back at some point in Alpha 2 to kind of just talk about, so we can get better detail on some of those questions.
Jeez. Of course,
better questions on how
timing.
things are going. But my gosh, these guys are killing me. That's going off next podcast.
Yeah, turn that off.
Anyway, I'd raid somebody,
Yeah.
but there's no one to raid. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to let this one. No, I cannot find. I mean, I could raid some schmo, or just person that I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll do that. We'll do that. We'll spread the love. We'll give some newer content creator love. I don't see him on my list here. I don't see him on my list anywhere.
But thank you to everybody.
Yes, thank you to everybody. We really appreciate it. So we're going to read
Thanks for having me. This is fun.
No, it's been a great time, and we'd love to. I'm really looking forward to playing Alpha 2, or I shouldn't say playing, testing Alpha 2. So thank you all again. God bless, and we will see you soon, guys.
See ya.
Bye-bye.